Good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys all doing today? Just make sure everything's online. And we'll let everybody pop on here. Give everybody a minute. Boy, there's sure a lag between I'm watching on my iPad and what I'm saying. It's such a lag, but that's okay. Hello, Julie. Yes, Vicki Boutin treasures. I have not had a lot of chance to play with these yet. It's just been so busy. Um, and I really wanted to pull them out. Winter peg. Yeah, I've heard that it's cold there and it's cold here. It's like in Calgary, it feels like minus 23. It's been like that the last couple days, but I think you guys are colder, hey? It's hard to go out and enjoy the winter, but we've been really lucky here, so I can't really complain. It's just when it gets cold, it's better to stay in. That's what I think. But I'm okay with that. The watercolors, oh yes. So these are I think they were released with the Fernwood collection, but I'm not sure if they're labeled Fernwood, but they're the Brights watercolor paint set. So yes, we're going to play with those today and just have some fun. They are at a really good price point. Hear me now, Julie? Oh, I don't have any sound. Okay. Here. I'm back now. Sorry guys, I have to answer my husband. Just one of those is fine, and yes, she can take that. It's up to her. If she wants to, she can, but if she wants to stay, she can. Okay, we're back. My daughter had a tooth pulled yesterday, and so she was complaining that it was sore. Um, and so luckily we live close to the school. My husband's just going to run her down a Tylenol. It was just a baby tooth, but it was one that had broke and they didn't want to try and fill it and kind of, but it was starting to get painful. So they ended up pulling it. She was really, really brave. Like, but of course it's just uncomfortable, a little uncomfortable today. So, yeah. So now we have the Merry and Bright Thickers. So these are the chipboard stickers that have the foil. And I just kind of grabbed a few things and I thought they would be fun to combine. And thanks, Julie. I saw your comment about the card. Thank you. And so these have lots of fun things that you can add. And then the sticker book as well. The sticker book has so many different stickers. Some of them I took out, and these are fabulous. I love using these on scrapbook pages, but of course I always have stuff left over. And I think a lot of these are really great that you could definitely use these on cards. Aren't these cute with the little numbers? Those would be great for a little December album. Do you guys have any of the Warm Wishes collection? There's so many stickers, and I love that when you have a lot of stickers in a pack, I don't feel bad, using them on tags or cards that I'm just going to give away because there's lots more. And this, I'm so glad that I pulled this out. I had picked it up when it first came out, and I love it. I love the images. I love the big joy word and these stars. These kind of hand-drawn stars are my favorite. And you get so many things packed into the stamp set. So you've got some little words. You've got the snowflakes, which we're going to use. These would be really great to use like as a wreath. There's lots of things you can do. So I am excited to use that. And then the Studio Katia die, we've had this in and it sells out, and then we got it back in, and it is a really great die, very versatile. So I'm going to show you the pieces. So this is the card we're going to make, and we're also going to make a tag. So if you're making the card, you're going to have leftover pieces, and if you can cut the pieces with your background die and then easily make a tag. And we're even going to color the ribbon with the watercolor paint. So very fun. We've got some Nouveau Dream Drops, which are my favorite, and then some Crystal Glaze. This is the tonic. There's also another product called Crystal Glaze, which is we used before, and I think it's called Crystal Glaze now that I think about it. It's kind of a shimmery paste, unless I'm imagining that. Okay, so let's move this out of the way for a minute. And what we're going to start with, we are going to do some stamping, and we'll use those watercolors. Okay, let's see. Hello, Tamara. And we're going to just paint our ribbon because I want it to dry. We can kind of help it along with the heat gun, but I find that it works better if we are letting it dry a little bit. So when I get the paints out, I'll move this out of the way for a second. I like to just give them a spray. Now I know I'm only using 3 colors in this today, but if I was using everything or wasn't sure what I wanted to use, I would just spray everything. And I find that just kind of gets the paint absorbing the water. And then I'm also going to put some water over here, because I find that if you're just using the paint directly from here, you're going to get a really strong color, which maybe that's what you want. And if you want a softer color, then I want to spray this one. Then you can mix it over here with the water, or if you're mixing colors, then you can bring it over here and kind of make your own palette. So for the ribbon here, I'm just going to give this a spritz as well, because then it's going to absorb the paint really nicely. This is just seam binding ribbon. I just picked it up. It's on Amazon, or you can get it anywhere. So I've got lots of paint on here, and if I wanted to water it down a little, I can dip my paintbrush in here and I can keep going back and forth, and you can see then I can just give a wash, and it's going to be a little bit lighter, and I find that the paints dry a little bit, almost like a little bit chalky kind of consistency. Okay, and then I want to have a little bit of water, so I'm going to pick up the green here, and I'm not going to super overlap the red and the green because that would make brown. And even if I wanted to, I could add a little bit of this lighter. I don't think it makes a big difference. This is pretty light, so it's going to dry very light. The greens you can definitely mix. So we'll kind of leave that like that. Rinse off our brush. And all we're going to do right now is just scrunch it up a little bit. And it's okay if some of that color mixes. And then what's not dry in a few minutes, then we'll go ahead and dry. And we'll just wipe up the leftover paint here. Okay, now we can emboss our image, and then we'll bring our paints back out. And we'll start our painting. So for embossing, I just have regular cardstock, and I tried watercolor, and I felt like just the regular cardstock worked better with these paints. And let's see here. I feel like my music is up a little bit too high, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let's get our images out that we're going to emboss. So how's everybody's Christmas stuff going? Thanks, Margaret Erica. Yeah, the dies are great. Those are really great dies. I was up very late last night because today is the girls' last day of school. And of course, it's like, oh my God, last minute. I feel like this week has been so busy. So we're going to do the stars. And I'm just leaving a little bit of room because I want to fussy cut those out after. And then we've got the word joy. And the bird. So we'll do those. Okay, so this is just regular white cardstock. I think it's about 110-pound cardstock. And I really like the stamp sets that she has out, Vicki has out with her sets. So I'm going to just use some Versamark ink, and it's just a sticky ink. Anyway, so I was up very late. What? Oh. If she had Advil? Okay. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just chatting with my husband about my daughter's tooth there. Okay, so there's a few that are out with I think there's two that are out with the Fernwood collection as well. I'm just going to use my daughter's scrunchie. I find that having something to slide over the surface seems to help. Anyway, so last day of school for the kids, and I was up late because I wanted to get the teacher gifts done, and they got done, and I was very happy with how those turned out. I'm going to do this one, give this one more. It's probably fine, but and I made some mugs with my mug press and my Cricut, so that was good. And I made some ornaments, and thankfully I have lots of Christmas cards this year. Usually I run out, but I have lots. Okay, so we've just got a piece of scrap paper, and I know there's some Wow embossing powder that's gold in this shop. This is the Emerald Creek Classic doubloon. This one is not in the store, I don't believe. But there's other fine powders. There's an Emerald Creek, another gold one. It's pretty thick. So if you're looking for a thicker, chunkier embossing powder, you can use that. But if you're looking for a thinner one, then you could use the Wow. And a couple spots, it looks like I didn't press down hard enough. I'm not too worried about it because this is just kind of a mixed media look, but if I had my embossing pens handy, then I could definitely grab them and just put on a little bit after we heated that. I don't have them right here, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it right now. Okay, we're going to turn on the heat gun. Just let it warm up for a minute. And then usually I go from behind first. So you could do this in whatever color embossing powder you wanted. I felt like gold kind of looked nice with the paper colors that we're using. And it's always fun watching the embossing powders melt, right? And I guess if I had put my stamps into the stamp press in a way that I knew, I don't remember if I put them, did I put them right at the bottom? Probably could get those little spots if I wanted to. Okay, let's just give these stamps a little wipe off, and then these two we'll try and line up once more and see. I don't know, it's always like could work or it might not, but sometimes you know how it goes. Okay, so what do you think, guys? Is it gonna work? I think I did put it right at the bottom. So this one is just the bottom corner, and then this one is like here. And if it doesn't work this time, we're just going to go with it. I think I have to send out 2 more Christmas cards, and then I'm completely done sending out my cards. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, it could be that that little area was sticking up a little bit. It worked on the other card, so I don't know. I think the embossing pen is the best choice if you have a little area. Actually, that's not too bad. If you have a little area that just needs a little bit more, that's probably your best choice. Magical. Yep. Watching embossing powder is always magical. And my kids are off school now, so I think I'll be wrapping gifts in the evening. My plan was to get them done this week, but that didn't exactly happen. Do you guys end up wrapping before Christmas Eve? Because that's always my plan. However, it rarely happens. Okay, so now we've got our paints and we are going to paint. So I used colors that are going to match. And how I find it easy to match is if I have the paper pad. So this is the paper that I used, but if you're still not sure like what colors match, then take your paper pad and anything that matches anything in here is going to match because they've already coordinated all these colors. So if we kind of put this here, you know, we could have made like a little bit of a turquoise mixing the green and blue. But I felt like this one would have worked too down here. But this one, and the red seem to work really nicely together. So you can kind of see, you can mix and match, but if you want a really easy way to make sure your colors are coordinated, just look at the other papers or a paper in the pack that has a lot of the colors. Okay, so we're going to, if you feel like your water's absorbed a little more, I don't think you can really have too much water because the water just soaks in and dries up. It's not going to hurt anything. And you're just going to have a lighter color if you have extra water, and you can go back. But you can see like that's fairly concentrated. And because we have that nice gold embossing, then it almost creates a well, and it's going to soak into that paper really nicely. If we wanted to do it a little bit lighter here, then I would just even rinse your paintbrush off, and it's good to have a napkin handy. So you can dab a little bit of water and you can just even pull some of it out. So if you want to add a little bit more, and that's kind of all I'm doing. And it's going to dry a little bit softer. So we can leave that will dry, and then you just want to rinse your paintbrush in between. Hello, Lorraine, how are you? We are just painting with the Vicki Boutin watercolor, the Brights. Now we'll go to our green. And if you kind of swirl it around, it's just mixing the paint. I feel totally like a kid again when I'm doing this. And it's not a bad idea just to get some paper and really just play around with it. So again, if I wanted to get a little bit off, I can just dip it into the water, pull some of that color, and I can always go back and add a little bit more in. Okay, and then we've got our red. So Lorraine, how are you doing? Are you all ready for Christmas? At least I have everything done, like bought that I want, but I do want, there's a few things I want to make and a few things that I want to do, like some iron on or something. All right, now we'll do our joy. And this is regular cardstock, so you're not going to go over and over it and do like some kind of professional watercolor. It's pretty much, it's on and you're going to leave it the way it is. Okay, and then we'll do our O. And as well, this is just the paintbrush that comes with this kit, but if you feel like you want a more detailed paintbrush, you can take a water brush. And I got a little bit in the center, but that's okay because we're actually going to put a snowflake in the center. And you can just dab some on for that kind of watercolor look. And I really like this bright spring green kind of color. I feel like it goes actually with a lot of different other colors. Okay, so we've got our stars, we've got our joy, and then we'll do our little bird. And the embossing just resists the paint. And I think I'll actually do his belly red. I did his head red the last time, but I think I'll do his belly red. And I could let this dry a little bit because if you do touch them, they might spread into each other, but I'm just kind of trying to be a little bit careful. And I'll do the green. You're doing a bit of stocking stuffer shopping over lunch. Nice. Hello, Naomi, and hello, everybody who popped in. Sorry if I didn't see you. Okay, so anything that has like a bit of wet, that is going to dry pretty quick. We could use our heat gun, which we might go over it with the heat gun just before we cut it. But really, oops, and don't forget, just trying to see, make sure I'm not forgetting, don't forget to just wipe this out. If you felt like you were coming back to it and wanted to leave that paint in there, the water will dry and you can still leave the wells in there. It's not going to hurt anything, but I know that if I want something else in there, I'll probably just put it in. Okay, so let's let that dry for a second. Now we're going to do our snowflakes. So I use these Studio Katia slimline dies. There's two different packs that are in the shop. This is the dotted slimline set 1, and then there's set 2 as well. And so the background, this big one, it cuts a 3.5 by 8.5 inch background. And you can mix and match this however you want. So that's what I cut out the black as well. Then the middle one, I just sized. What I did actually was, because I was using the 6x8 paper pad, I cut it in half at 3 inches. So it's 3 by 8. And then I put this little mini one right in the center. So I put the die in, cut it out, and then you have 2. And I like that you get this dotted edge around both the inside and the outside. So both cuts. So that makes it really easy to use both. And then you also get this pretty scallop border with, again, the little dots. And so I cut, you can see it there. It's really pretty. I cut that one out. So we've got these layers here. This we're going to cut in half for our tag, and then this is going to be our card. And I do like, so I decided to cut my card at 8.5 by 7 so that when it's folded, it's exactly the same size as the card front. And then I can use an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and cut it at 8.5 by 7, and I still have a panel left over. So we're going to stamp our snowflakes on here, and I'm going to show you an easy way. I also picked up the Hero Hues Unicorn Pigment ink from the shop, and I saw there is some back in stock now, and it's a really great ink. So you'll see how nicely, I'm going to move up so you can see me on the camera. Okay, you're going to see how nicely it is going to show up on the black background. So basically what I'm doing is I'm grabbing my snowflakes, and I know that I want them to mainly show inside this border. So there's 3 snowflakes. So I'm going to position them. There's a small, medium, and a large. You can see like you've got, oh, this could be a snowflake too. It's a little dot. Oh, I think I used that actually. Where did I put that? I put that down here. Okay, and then we're going to move this. We can slide these up so they're a little bit under that border, but basically you're just using this as a guide, and that's kind of showing you where it's going to be. Okay, so first we can do this side. Let's see here. Lorraine, we are using the Warm Wishes Vicki Boutin stamp set. So this is this one here. It's from the Warm Wishes collection. I can't remember if there's, I think there was only one stamp set for this collection. But there's lots of really great images and different words and stuff. I think it's a really good, I also really like this little shine image. I think you could use that a lot, and the little 25. Anyway, that's the one we're using. Okay, so we are going to pick up our stamps, and I was actually really surprised at how nicely this turned out on the white cards or on the black cardstock. So sorry, I'm using the scrunchie again that my daughter left. Usually I have like my little air hockey puck and I pull it over. It actually really does work nice if you have something to press down and rub across the surface. It seems to get a really nice stamped image. See how nice those turned out? I think we could go over them again. You don't have to, but we will. So scrunchies can be used in more than one way. All right, so now our little trick is that we're just going to turn this around like this, and it's still going to be lined up because our little frame here is symmetrical. So we don't have to try and position those snowflakes again. Lorraine, is it cold where you are? I think it's cold throughout all of Alberta. Okay, so look how pretty they look. I think they just pop on that black cardstock. Okay, and then I want to do one more snowflake. I might have to try and line it up here. So that's going to be our background. This is a pigment ink, so it's going to take a few minutes longer than like a dye ink just to dry. So if you rubbed your finger over it, would probably smudge a little bit. And let's see which snowflake I used. I think I used the smaller one. Okay. So let's stick our snowflakes back. I feel like if I don't stick them back on, let me see. Yeah, I used the smaller one. Then I'm probably going to misplace them. I have some thread that I use for to make like little traveler's notebooks, and I bought like a whole spool of it. And do you think I can find that anywhere? So this one, I want to use some embossing powder, but I want to use the Wanderlust. It's like a translucent, iridescent, shiny, and sparkly. But if we just put it over Versamark, it would be clear, and I want it to show up. So I'm going to do this ink and pour it on. I did put a coating of, actually put a coating of Versamark on when I did my other one, but I think it's wet enough that we can just add that embossing powder. So let's see. Yeah. And of course, if you have a powder bag, I don't know, I can't seem to remember to use it. Sometimes I remember and sometimes I don't. And you could put it on, but it doesn't look like we have a whole lot sticking. Okay, let's heat this up. This is really pretty, and it's going to be really nice and shiny. Hello, Ellie. All right, I think that's good. You don't need to heat it too much, and it almost turns like you can see that iridescent kind of sparkly effect. I really like that one. That's the Wanderlust. So we'll wipe our stamp off. And then I have a 3/4 inch punch. So if you have different embellishments that fit inside different circle punches, you can make your own embellishments. You could put a layer of glossy accents or that crystal glaze on top of that, and it would look almost like a brad. Okay, well, sorry guys. Let's see. I think we can start putting our card together. And let me just check your comments. It is very cold. Thanks, Lorraine. Is cute, hey? Walmart checkouts were still lined up. Yeah. My daughter and I, Amy, so she's 14, and we went out looking for, just trying to see if that's still a little bit wet. We went out looking for ugly Christmas sweaters. There is none in Calgary, and I know it's really close to Christmas, so that's probably why, but everything's sold out. So we're going to do our tag first. So this is the background die with that Studio Katia. And we did go to Walmart and look, and I thought for sure they had no ugly Christmas sweaters at all. Sometimes it's hard when you're not looking down, so I have to stand up here and see. All right, and then we're going to glue this on. And if you have other layering dies, this is a great way to just put some layers together, cut your slimline die in half, and then you have 2 tags. So this is 8.5 inches long. So I know I can cut it at 4 1/4. It is a little bit thick, and it probably has a little bit of glue, so wet. That looks good. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of an angle to the corner. So I'm going to mark it at 1 inch down on each side. And then all I need to do is take my scissors and line up. I know I want to cut it. You could do it however you wanted to do it. Or if you had your layers stacked together and you had a tag die that you wanted to use, you could just place those layers in the tag die. There we go. Quick and easy. We've got 2 tags. We're only going to decorate 1 today. We'll leave this. This has that pretty poinsettia, and you could totally add stickers. We're just going to decorate the back of this because it's a little bit more plain. And I've got my crocodile hole punch. So I'm going to use the larger size. And we may as well punch this because I'm sure I will need extra tags. Even if you just used it like that, I think it would be really pretty. Or if you wanted to round the corners, if you had the crocodile corner rounder, you could use that. Okay, so let's see. How's our ribbon doing? I think our ribbon might need to be dried a little bit. Let's just make sure everything's dry so that we can go ahead and put them together. Thank you, Margaret Erica. I think this doesn't dry pretty well. It just might be a tiny bit damp. And you don't want to overheat that embossing powder again, but giving it a little bit of shot of heat won't hurt. I think that's good. This, we've just got some tweezers and you can just hold it in place. And I always love how this ribbon turns out, whether you ink it or paint it. Okay, I'll just let that continue to dry, and then we'll just make sure that our snowflakes are dry, because there's nothing worse than sticking your hands in your project when it's not dry, which I seem to do if I ever put stickles on. I always put them on at the end now because I know myself that I will just stick my hand in them. Okay. And I cut this right to the same size, so it should be pretty easy to line up. Of course, I'm looking at it at an odd angle, but okay, so we can glue that right flat down to the background. Now we'll put our little frame. I glued that flat down as well, just because I knew I wanted the embellishments sticking up. But you could do a shaker with this. You could add foam tape, and that's pretty too, isn't it? That's so pretty. All right. So we'll put this down and just leave a little bit of a border. I was working today at the preschool with little 3-year-olds, and we were doing a craft together. So I was helping them do their craft, and it's so funny, like how even gluing is, it definitely is a skill. And then it was the kind of Christmas party, so the teacher put on a Sesame Street Christmas episode, and I don't think that too many of the kids even knew a lot of the characters. Like some of them, like, Elmo or Cookie Monster that we still see, but a lot of the characters you don't see anymore. Okay, so fussy cutting this out, you could cut right next to it if you wanted. I feel like these are pretty easy to cut out, and it's fine to just leave a little bit of a border. And when you are fussy cutting, just turn your paper. And if you have a small pair of scissors, it really makes a difference. So getting rid of anything extra, like something like that. And I think scissor work and fussy cutting, that is definitely a skill as well. But once you practice it, you will actually get pretty quick at it. I don't mind cutting at all, as I find it's something you can just do without thinking too much. And it's actually kind of relaxing. I don't stress about it. And if you give yourself a little bit of a border, then it's not so noticeable if you're not right on the line. So just by moving my paper instead of my scissors, it just gives me a lot more control over where I'm going. So where you've painted over the embossed lines, it's not going to stick, and you can see I kind of got a little bit of green on the paper. I'm not really worried about it. You could take a little bit of a paper towel and just give it a little wipe off if you felt like anything was going to rub off, because of course, it's going to stay where it's soaked into the paper, but if it's on top of the embossing powder, it's just going to rub off a little bit. And I like that these words are cut far enough apart that if you want to do this and fussy cut them, you've got lots of room to cut around them. You could definitely stamp them on a background and then make it like a banner or something. But if you fussy cut them, then you have the option of, you could stack them if you wanted to stack the word. You can even replace the O with a snowflake. We're going to put a snowflake right in the center. And because you've kind of got that painted look and these are hand drawn, I don't even think it matters if you're, not cutting exactly. It's just that it's just like that handmade feel. But the gold and the white on the black almost steps it up a notch. And also I feel like when I am fussy cutting stuff out, I really feel like I'm making. Let me just cut this bird. Maybe it's back to being that kid where you're just cutting and gluing and you're just really having fun with your project. And there's also lots of images on the paper itself that you could cut out if you wanted to add, you know, layers of things. So that wasn't so bad, hey? All right. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff. You could just paint a whole bunch of stars. You could even do your background painted and then emboss your stars over top. I think when I heated my background, it went a little bit wonky, but we're not even going to worry about that. Okay, so we've got our joy. We're going to glue that directly down. And we could put this under something after if we wanted to flatten it out. Okay. I'm just going to set these down lightly and then kind of eyeball where we've got everything, and we can press them down. You could use a ruler, but I feel like they're pretty easy to line up. They're pretty basic letters. So you could do these in all kinds of different colors. Okay, so we've got our joy there, and our bird is going to go on here. And so we can go back to our sticker book. Now these little words here, so there's lots of different types of stickers. These ones are almost like a thin washi tape sticker. So I added a piece of white cardstock. Thanks, Lorraine. We'll do merry everything and happy always. But I definitely wanted to have it behind a piece of, or in front of a piece of white, and it's really thin, so you're just going to peel off that top layer, and you can see it's just like washi tape. Of course, if you put it on the black, it's going to look pretty dark, so I felt like putting it on the white actually made it pop. And then I just cut, leaving a little bit of a border. And they've almost designed it to have like a washi tape end torn look, so that's neat too. But these stickers here have a white background. So I wanted to put this on here because this looks like the little bird is sitting on it. Okay, and then we'll get out our foam tape. This is the 3L roll of foam tape, which I'm actually really liking. I feel like the backing comes off really nicely. All right, and it sticks really well. So we'll pop up our bird here. Then we've got our little snowflake that we embossed with that Wanderlust powder, which I really like. Okay, so we're going to pop that right in the center. And then this is where you can go in and add some little elements. So there's these little kind of shine elements. If you wanted to heat emboss these, if you knew where you wanted them, and you wanted to use the stamps that were on the stamp set, that would look great as well. And just kind of adding these, you know, different elements. I think those are the things that really make your project special. So we'll do our dream drops at the end, and then our little tag. We are going to add our stars. So let's see. Here we've got them like that. We've also got some of these fun little labels. So we'll use this celebrate. And I'm going to go for it and just hand stamp this on. Okay. And if you're not sure, what I usually do is just take a scrap piece of paper if I'm just kind of not sure if it's going to work. And then I know how much pressure I need. And then I just try and, I don't want to squash it down. I just want to make sure it has pressure the whole way. I really like that font. Okay. So depending on your ink and depending on the sticker surface, you might need to give it a minute so that you don't smudge anything. So we'll just be careful, and we'll put that on here. And you can also pop up your stickers. So if you're not sure, you know, if something doesn't feel quite right, just to stick it down, then either stick it on a piece of cardstock and fussy cut it, or use your powder bag and take the stickiness off and use some foam tape. And then you can turn your sticker into a dimensional sticker. And then I'm going to pull these little snowflakes. So here's where I thought like any of these little puffy stickers could totally work. You could stick on one of these where I just put on the celebrate. So then there's lots of little words here. So let's get our foam tape. We'll just add a little bit more foam tape. Here I'm looking for my foam tape. It's right here. And then we'll put a couple snowflake stickers on. I feel like it's always good to have a few extra cards or tags, because when I start wrapping presents, I don't actually want to stop and make a tag. I just want to grab, and if I don't have tags made, that's when I kind of just use the things that I have on hand. So if I know if I have a bunch of tags made, then especially if it's someone that I'm giving a special gift to, I like to include that. And actually, before we stick this down, there was one more sticker that I wanted to use on here. These stickers are fabulous. So this, let's see, where is it? Oh, and this I thought had lots of nice things you could actually put on there. Here it is. So I used half of this sticker on here, and I actually cut it so that I could place my star. So if you know where you want to put your star, you can just kind of cheat and extend it. And that way, you're covering it with something anyways, and then it looks like you have a border that went the whole way across. Okay, and then we want a couple snowflakes. These snowflakes, I would probably add a little bit of glue to these are the thicker chipboard sticker snowflakes. And this is all the Warm Wishes collection. So we'll just add 2. I don't know, I just feel like the stickers I don't think need any more adhesive, but I think the chipboard stickers just need a little bit. But how cute are these birds? These birds would be really cute on there. Okay, then we will go to and hello Monica and Victoria. So I've got here today, I think there's 7 or 8 different colors. I've got the Gold Luxe Dream Drops, the Enchanted Elixir, and the Cloud 9. And then I have some of my thing is rubbed off because I think I've used this a lot, the Tonic Nouveau Crystal Glaze. So then I would just start going in. Actually, before we do that, let's put our ribbon on so we don't stick, so I don't stick my finger in the Dream Drops. That would be helpful. Isn't that pretty? So you can use these paints on anything that you have. If you just have tags, you know, laying around, try the paints on them, see how they look. Okay. So let's just add some drops. These are nice because they are self-leveling. So I just put a little dot and kind of do that round motion. These are iridescent, so they'll look really nice and shimmery. And then once you put them down, they kind of just smooth out on their own. So you can rub this on cardstock and it actually will look a little bit different. You can cover the back of cardstock and then you have this pretty iridescent shine if you wanted to paint it on. If you use such a pretty tag, you don't need a bow. That's totally right. I rarely actually use bows, so just because I never think to have them. But yes, that's all you need. That's your topper. This is the Enchanted Elixir. We'll do it here. And you do want to give these some time to dry. So I'd say like at least 20 minutes. What I usually do is I just put them on and then walk away and leave it. Sometimes I'll just even set it overnight to dry. But I like this one, has a really pretty soft green. I'll hold it up to the camera in a minute. And here, I'll show you this one. This one has like a purple look if you put it on black cardstock. And I may as well show you this because it's like magic. And this one again is more of like a gold tone. So it's just neat when you have it on white or on dark cardstocks. They look different. Okay, and then we'll finish up with our white. So you can use these to embellish anything that you want. If you wanted to use them on your snowflakes, you could do that. And you can make them larger or smaller, depending on what you're going for. So I think that's enough for that. And then the last thing that I did was use this crystal glaze. So it kind of works like a glossy accents. I feel like it's a little bit not so thick, and so it really spreads on nicely. I really like it actually. So you just put that on and then set that aside to dry as well. You like it, Victoria? Yeah. And there you go. And once this is completely dry, so you can see here, this one's completely dry, and it looks very clear. So you can see it's a little bit cloudy right there. It's going to be very clear and shiny. So there's our tag with our scrunchy little bow. And if you wanted another hanging tag, you could just hang another one there. I think pretty tags like this you can even use as ornaments on your tree. And then here's our slimline card. So lots of pretty effects, especially that watercolor. I like how it turned out. So that is the Vicki Boutin Warm Wishes collection, which we still do have a lot available in the shop if you're looking for it. If you have it at home, pull it out and start doing some crafting. And this is the Studio Katia dies. They have been out for a while, but they really are, I think, a really good basic slimline die to have. Thank you, Margaret Erica. And they are great for shakers as well. Anyway, that is what I have for you today, and I will be back. I'll actually, if you guys are members of the VIP group with Creative Scrapbooker, we are going to do a feature 1 o'clock Saturday because they're having their crop. If you don't know what the VIP group is, then go to the Creative Scrapbooker magazine website and follow the links to find out about the VIP subscription and its Facebook group. They have lives every week. They have crops every month. Just a really great group of girls. Thanks, Victoria, for coming. So if you guys are part of that, then I will be doing a live on Saturday at 1 o'clock this Saturday, and sharing a scrapbook page with the kit of the month. And if you don't know what the kit of the month is for Scrap Shotz, you can have a look at last week's live, and I show you everything that's in the kit if you're interested in finding out more. We also have a Scrap Shotz paper crafting group, so you can have a look at that, and that's just a place to share whatever crafty stuff you're working on. We would love to see it and see what you're working on, and we have challenges every month, so our next one will be starting in January, and we would love to just hang out with you and see what's going on in your crafty world. You're going to make along watching your replay. Oh, that's awesome, Julie. I'm glad. Yeah, be sure to share it with us. We would love to see in that Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. And have a great week, rest of your week, and enjoy your Christmas. I will be here next Thursday as well. Thanks, Lorraine. Merry Christmas to you all if I don't get to hang out with you next week. And you can always watch the replays. They're always on the video page if you're looking for any inspiration. So I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for stopping in and for crafting and hanging out. I really appreciate it. And stay warm. Bye.